We're extraordinarily concerned by what's happening with the Rohingya. We really hold the military leadership accountable for what's happening with the Rohingya area. What's most important to us is that the world can't just stand idly by and be witness to the atrocities that are being reported in the area.
Secretary of State Rex Tillerson there talking about the humanitarian crisis unfolding right now in Myanmar. If you watch the show, you know what we're talking about, because in the last couple of months, more than 500,000 Rohingya refugees have streamed out of Myanmar into Bangladesh. They're trying to get away from persecution by the country's all-powerful army, as you heard the secretary allude to there. Government troops responsible for burning thousands of Rohingya homes and killing who knows how many people. Reports of rape, beheadings, executions. They want to force this minority Muslim group from the mainly Buddhist country in what the United Nations calls textbook ethnic cleansing. I want to bring in now Eric Schwartz, president of Refugees International and former Assistant Secretary of State for Population, Refugees, and Migration. You've been on the show before to talk about your experiences there, but I want to start with the Secretary of State's comments. He says the world cannot stand idly by. Hasn't the world done that so far?
Yes, the world has stood idly by. And look, you have to, on one level, welcome his statement yesterday. I personally am convinced that something that he read, some personal testimony that he saw, struck him and perhaps made him think about his own children. And so I think we welcome it. But it's nearly 2 months into this crisis. The military is succeeding in its dedicated plan to rid the country of most of the Rohingya Muslim population. That enterprise is succeeding, and they're doing it by terrorizing the population. So if this isn't followed, if Rex Tillerson's statement isn't followed by some extraordinary action and sustained action now, then it will be meaningless.
What does that extraordinary and sustained action look like?
Well, first of all, he should get on a plane tomorrow, and he should fly to Myanmar. And that would be a powerful indication of not only his interest, but it would also be holding himself and his government hostage to more action, right? Once you say this is important and once you fly out there, then you got to do something. And there are plenty of actions that could be taken.
You talk about folks that maybe have read more about this or heard more about this and it has affected them personally. I know for a lot of people who watch this program, we did something on the New York Times piece that came out recently about what is happening on the ground in Myanmar. And people seem to be affected by that. Quote, survivors said they saw government soldiers stabbing babies, cutting off boys' heads, gang raping girls, shooting 40mm grenades into houses, burning entire families to death. For folks watching, this put into perspective the crisis, and you were there. You saw some of this.
Well, we heard personal testimonies from people to that effect. Mothers, children talking about their homes being firebombed, them fleeing, and people being shot at systematically as they were fleeing. We spoke to one fellow whose wife had the baby in her arms, and the baby was shot and killed. But you can't succeed in ridding a country of well over 500,000 people in 5 weeks if you're not prepared to systematically shoot them and kill them and drive them out.
But so where is Aung San Suu Kyi in all this, the de facto leader, right? There's a lot of conversation. You've got other countries who are sort of saying, yeah, she's in this position where the military is supreme, and so she's sort of at the behest of them, but at the same time, she appears to be unwilling to maybe do something. Which is it?
She has been a disappointment. Look, she may not be in the position to confront the military harshly and strongly. That's her decision. But she should not have served as a cheerleader for the military.
And you feel like she did?
Well, she's denied that there's discrimination in Rakhine State. She's expressed a sort of ignorance about the human rights situation, which could only be a willful ignorance. That's a disappointment.
Eric Schwartz, it's a pleasure to have you on this set talking about this extraordinarily difficult conversation. I appreciate it.